I'm Sergeant, and welcome to Argumental, the show where the finest minds in comedy debate the biggest issues facing mankind. Is nuclear power the way forward? What did feminism achieve? And who's more annoying, Nick Knowles or Bill Oddie? Here to argue such hot topics and many more like them are our teams. Captain of the Red Team, Marcus Brigstocke, and his special guest, Mark Watson. And opposing them in the blue corner, Team Captain Rufus Hound and his special guest, Andy Parsons. OK, our first round is where I ask the teams to discuss a major issue that could determine the future of the world. I'm talking about this, recycling. There's a war on waste and carrier bags are the enemy. Every time you lug your frozen burgers from Iceland, 1 million children die in a flood. According to experts, Britain's landfill sites contain more plastic than a wag's bra. But the statement I'd like you to argue is this: recycling is a waste of time. Up first, and in favour of that statement, is Rufus Hound.
Thank you very much, John. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. People like Marcus get very het up about recycling, driving around in their private helicopters looking for a champagne bottle bank that you can fit a Nebuchadnezzar bottle into, just so they get that feeling of being better than the scum who idly throw their apple cores out into the street. Recycling is a waste of time. Reusing, though, is very helpful. Now, when I was a kid, much like all of you, I'm sure, household rubbish was one of the only toys that I had. Today's old washing-up bottles were tomorrow's spaceships. Cereal boxes were my dad's new pen tidy. Happy birthday, Dad. Yeah. Stripped toilet rolls were only a slice of ham away from being artificial training vaginas. All I'm saying is, we just need to stop buying shit in the first place. If you're buying mineral water to drink at home, then you do not give a tinker's cuss about the fate of the planet, and you should not be allowed to pretend otherwise. People who have bottled water at home should not have their bottles taken away by any sort of local government agency. They should be forced to keep their empty bottles in a vast burning globe in their front garden, in full view of the neighbours, who can then choose whether to shun them or simply shrug and go, well, to each his own. Ladies and gentlemen, recycling is a waste of time. Vote blue, vote hard. I thank you.
Thank you, Rufus, but is he talking rubbish? Mark Watson.
Yes.
Go on, Marky.
First of all, I'd like you to consider whether you should be voting for someone who not only admits to having had an artificial training vagina, but didn't even buy it first-hand. Recycling is not only not a waste of time, it's essential to the future of our planet. We waste everything. We're full of waste in our society. Look at plastic bags. You get given a plastic bag if you buy anything. I bought a peach, one peach, and this guy put it in a bag. And I said, well, I don't need a bag. Of course, if you do that, they look at you like some sort of infidel. And I said, well, I'll put it in a bag now, he said, as if it was logically impossible that he could take it out again. And I said, well, could you take it out? Because I don't want to waste a bag. He said, you need it, mate, to carry it. I thought, well, I've got one peach here. I've got two hands. I'm not showing off, but I backed myself to work out some way of conveying this. And this sort of battle of wills went on for... And in the end, to make my point, I just ate the peach in front of him, really, all over his checkout. Ah, it's great. I did it with a lasagna the next week. But this kind of vigilante action can only go so far because there's too much waste in the world. There's too much stuff being made. Recycling is great. It gives a new lease of life to things. Who hasn't looked down at a bit of toilet paper and thought, it's a shame not to ever see that again? Now you can. I'm sort of disappointed in myself. That literally just came to me that second and I thought, should I? Probably not. I will, though. We've all done that. Also, I thought Rufus contradicted himself. He said, oh, recycling's a bad idea, but reusing things is good. They're the same things. They're all part of recycling. Recycling just means not wasting things. It's enormously important, and you should vote for the Red Team.
Well shot, Marky.
Mark Watson states that recycling and reusing are the same thing. They're not the same thing. The issue with recycling, fundamentally, is that we all sit around at home thinking, well, the planet's going to hell in a handcart Our little effort is, you know, we'll put the newspapers in a green box. Brilliant. Future generations now won't burn to death. But it's a lie. The contribution that we can make as house owners and homeowners and as citizens is tiny in comparison to what governments should be doing to actually enforce industry to operate in a greener way. But we all sit at home so bloody terrified that our house price might go down 4 points, we'll elect anybody who says that they can fix it with no harm to us. It's bollocks. We're not being helped by governments, we're being hindered by them and sold a lie so that our children will pay for it and the death of the innocents is on their hands.
Can I amazing. A round of applause for the duration of your waffle. So in years to come, as the planet is practically burnt to a cinder and covered in shit, you're going to sit down with your child as he looks up and goes, "Why, Daddy? Why did the planet turn out like this?" You go, "Well, to be honest with you, we thought recycling was a waste of time. Mr. Parsons and myself were too busy grooming our twatty beards. Too busy carving shapes into our kids." Every single effort that any person makes to make the planet a better place is worthwhile.
Yeah.
How dare you undermine it? How dare you?
Also, I think the audience should know that on the way here, I heard Rufus muttering, "I hate the planet, I hope it dies."
I saw him stab it with a pen.
But this is just another way in which we have ceased to be citizens and merely operate as consumers. We are debased.
Not the case. I mean, look at recycling's positive and it's everywhere, and that's a fantastic thing. This show has recycled a perfectly serviceable political journalist into a host. Recycling. That's how it works, OK? Not only that, we've recycled the chairs from Parkinson. Here they are. Later on, as per usual, you'll be recycling Jim Davidson's material all over the show. Just recycling, reusing, finding a use for the stuff.
But I was just curious. One of the reasons that we obviously, for a man who's obviously struggling to grow his own facial hair, it's always good to come back. We like to save electricity by leaving a little bit. I wasn't...
Mr. Parsons. That's the same on the back, my friend.
Yeah.
There's no problem in the hair growing area, my friend.
Well, maybe if you combed it up and round, you'd look like less of a tit.
You're the first man I've ever seen with a twatty chest.
This has all become very unpleasant, hasn't it?
What about recycling?
I've got a green box from my council, right? But then there's a list of things that I can't put in my green box, right? One of which is a plastic tub. Now, the green box itself is a plastic tub. If I got a green box and put it in my green box, the council would not take my green box. That's how stupid the recycling is.
That's right.
And you shut up because you've got a twatty chest.
So from that, I take it you're keen to do more recycling, Andy. Well said, thank you.
You don't...
Bless you. Bless your heart. That's sweet of you.
All right, gentlemen, on we go. It's time for our studio audience to decide which team made the best case. If you think it was Marcus and Mark, hold up your red card. And if you think it was Rufus and Andy, hold up the blue one. Vote now.
Oh, you cocks.
OK, so a clear victory for the red team. Well done, Marcus and Mark. Many pop stars have been helping to promote recycling. For example, in the last decade, Oasis have released the same album 5 times. Our next round is called Flip Flop, and this is where we find out how well the teams can argue with themselves. I'll give a player a statement which they must argue for until they hear this sound. At which point, they must perform a U-turn and argue against it. Then flip-flop their argument every time I press the buzzer. Mark and Rufus, you're both up for this one. Mark, I'd like you to start off, please, by arguing that books are better than TV.
Of course books are better than TV. TV's rubbish. And nearly every TV show is a waste of time. I watched a TV show the other day, 100 Things to Do Before You Die. I would have thought the obvious one, shout for help. Wasn't even there, right? And that's exactly why I love TV. Because TV shows are silly, they are frivolous. And yes, sometimes they might make you feel a bit down. Sometimes it's, you know, how clean is your house, what not to wear, your garden's shit. But we, I made that one. That'll be next. But we need to be told where our inadequacies are. Also, books are much better than TV. A book is your friend. You can take it places. If you take your TV with you, then you look odd with a television, which is nice. We need more eccentrics. We need more. If this country's lacking one thing, it's bloody freaks with their TVs in their hands, which is a shame. I think there should be more people carrying TVs around. Also, TV is sort of really easy. We can all do TV, whereas it's very hard to write a book. I saw J.K. Rowling interviewed. They said, how do you come up with your ideas for books? She said, I was in the shower, it came into my head. I thought, all of it? That's one bloody hell of a shower. It must have been pretty wrinkly by the time Azkaban came round. That's impossible. People like me need TV because we'll never be able to write books. Books are just too elitist. Books are difficult for people who can't perhaps read very well. And that's why books are better, because people who can't read very well don't deserve to live in a civilised society. If you can't read, fuck off and die. I can't remember which one's which now. But I tell you what, books and TV are great, but I don't like the radio as much.
Thank you, Mark. Well flip-flopped. Rufus, you're up next. I'd like you to begin by arguing that hands are better than feet.
Hands are, of course, better than feet. We measure everything in feet, but hands, we measure the important things, like horses and breasts. Which obviously means that feet are the superior. How would we get anywhere without feet? We wouldn't. And that is why I prefer hands. At the end of the day, feet are very nice, brilliant, well done. But hands, stroking, all the good words are hand-based. Stroking, touching, reaching, poking, jabbing, punching, hugging, fondling. Fondling is a great word, but I've realised not as good a word as fingering. Oh! Let's be honest. Gents, I think we all like a bit of fingering. Ladies, we love a bit of footing. It's important to get off on the right footing, which is why ladies are so much better organised than men, which they show off about a lot, don't they? Women, oh, I can multitask. Well, good for you, but some of us have got one thing to do well, so... which would be a ludicrous and sexist thing to say.
Thanks, Rufus. Hands or feet, the dilemma that Wayne Rooney has to face every time someone gives him a banana. Most children use the fingers of their hands to learn to count up to 10, or up to 12 if they're from Norfolk. OK, now it's up to the studio audience to tell us who flipped and who flopped. You know the form. Red for Mark and blue for Rufus. Vote now.
That looks like a ready.
Yeah, a clear win for the red team.
Yeah! That's 4 rounds of applause so far.
Time for a break now. Join us in a few moments when we'll be asking if Madonna gets better with age. Don't go away. Welcome back to Argumental, the show where the guests pull no punches. Jeremy Kyle, take note. Next up is the slideshow. One member from each team will be debating a controversial issue, but this time they must incorporate into their argument a series of random images they've never seen before. Marcus, this time you're up first. The topic I'd like you to argue is this: cosmetic surgery should be free on the NHS. And here's a picture to start you off. Away you go.
This is a man that the NHS did some experimental cosmetic surgery on, replacing his nose with this amusing sphere. He's happy with it. Why shouldn't it be made freely available to him? Of course, if we made cosmetic surgery free on the NHS, I think you'd find a lot more of this. You'd find a lot more talons. People choosing to have their hands replaced with talons. And think how much more we could achieve with talons instead of hands. A simple picking up of, say, a mouse or a hare could be achieved like that. very much like the Eagle does. Some people would choose not to. That would be up to them. Free at the point of use on the NHS. We must make cosmetic surgery available to everybody. Of course, many rich people spend money on cosmetic surgery. Rich, stupid people. And why shouldn't they be allowed to, frankly? They look hideous in their souls, so why shouldn't they be allowed to look passable as a person? And... Cosmetic surgery should, of course, be free on the NHS. That way people can choose whether or not they need to use it. This is a picture of a man who clearly doesn't, although if he wants to, he'd be free to. That would be his choice. A little bit of tightening, maybe. That's entirely down to him.
Thanks, Marcus. Free cosmetic surgery. Ridiculous, isn't it, Andy Parsons? Here's your first picture.
Yes, it is ridiculous. Look at that. What was it that Barack Obama said? You can put lipstick on a pig, but it still looks like a pig. You know, well, he's had so much plastic surgery that it's gone very badly wrong. Well, that was quite good to have a mask on his head to go into the Portaloo because it helped him breathe more easily. And therefore, when people wanted to come to the loo, he could always go, oh, you want to give that a bit of time? If you go in there, you'll feel the force. Thank you. That is, in fact, one man who's had plastic surgery, white hair and black eyebrows. That's a botched job right there. Oh, well, that's an even worse botched job, that one. But somebody has died from plastic surgery there, and they're trying to recycle the plastic out of them, which we know from the first round is a bloody great idea. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy. OK, Rufus and Mark, you can come in now.
I'll wait for him to say something and then counteract.
OK, counter.
Well, I'm going to wait for Mark to say something.
Oh, this could go on a while.
We'll all sit here quietly.
Oh, I don't know. The point is that cosmetic surgery shouldn't be free on the NHS, should it? Good.
Yes, it should.
Yeah, it should.
Yes. No,
No,
the point is it should. It should be made available to anybody who wishes to have it.
No, it shouldn't.
Yeah, it should.
No, it shouldn't.
Welcome to Argumental on Dave, ladies and gentlemen. We take on all the important issues of the day by going, yeah, it should.
My dad's bigger than your dad's.
Yes, and if surgery were available on the NHS, I could make my dad bigger.
Yeah. We've all dreamed of making our dads bigger.
High five,
The point is, the reason that you think cosmetic surgery should be available on the NHS is that you've never had to use the NHS. You use private doctors who you meet on a golf course in a gold castle.
What do you mean? Excuse me.
In a gold castle with private doctors, all of whom are called Ndwa. And you go and see them and you say, I've got a bit of a problem with my shoulder, and they clap their hands and butlers with lasers come in. And as you drift away into your own private Valhalla, you think, oh, I bet this is exactly how it is on the NHS. What you don't realise is that for most of the people in this room, a trip to the doctor is a bit like shopping in Matalan with more disease.
Sorry. Quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question. Most of what you have said, I have to accept, but I do have one issue I'd like to take you up on. What is Matalan? What is it?
OK, thank you, teams. So, should cosmetic surgery be free on the NHS? If you think yes, vote red for Marcus. If you think no, it's the blue card for Andy. So, that's a victory for the blue team. Well done, Andy. You convinced the audience that cosmetic surgery should not be available on the NHS. Quite right, too. If you want a face like mine, you have to go private. Time now for our celebrity round, and they don't come much bigger than the subject of tonight's debate. Yes, it's Madonna, the nothing-like-a-virgin queen of pop. She's 50, yet thanks to Kabbalah, a strict diet and a rigorous gym regime, she doesn't look a day over 50. Since moving to the UK, Madonna's become every inch the typical middle-aged British woman. She drinks pints and she has 3 kids each with a different dad. But the statement I'd like our teams to argue is Madonna gets better with age. Marcus, I'd like you to start us off by arguing in agreement. Off you go.
OK, thank you. Of course Madonna gets better with age. She looks absolutely fantastic. I like to think of Madonna as being very much like a fine wine, improving with age, slightly dusty, best laid down on her side and excellent with fish. The metaphor's slightly parted company there. But look at her. She's a 50-year-old woman who's out there doing it, getting it done, still singing, still dancing. She could have given up. She could be staying at home knitting a balaclava. Come on, that's an excellent joke. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be perfectly honest. If my wife looks anything like that when she's 50, I will be able to say to people, I was once married to her. She's learned a lot. The whole point is Madonna has got better with age. There's lots of stuff she did when she was younger that she's no longer doing, and we should be glad. She's no longer in films, ladies and gentlemen. That is progress. Time was Madonna wore a conical bra. She doesn't do that anymore. Why? Because it wouldn't look as good if you wore it down here. She sung like a virgin. She was 26. None of us believed her. She doesn't lie as much. She now wears a leotard, ladies and gentlemen. Let's think how far she's moved on. Time was she'd have worn absolutely nothing at all. She printed a book of herself in various naked poses. I remember it. It had a metal cover and was very difficult to hold in one hand. I urge you to vote with the red team. This lady gets better with age. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Marcus. He's off his rocker, isn't he, Andy Parsons?
So, ladies and gentlemen, you can put lipstick on a pig, right? To reprise an argument I've already had. Look at her, ladies and gentlemen. She is a phony. This woman was the woman who headlined Live Earth. She has got 6 houses and her own exclusive use of a jet. Her headlining Live Earth would be like Joseph Fritzl headlining a Family Awareness Day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's face it, when it comes to money, she is absolutely loaded. She seems to spend most of her time now, instead of making music, going around the world trying to adopt a new child. She's got one from Africa. She apparently now wants to get one from Asia. She basically wants to get a child from each individual continent so she can make her own Benetton ad. And let's face it, you know, £300 million she is apparently worth. I would say to you, she should never have the money. Let's face it, money isn't everything. We know money isn't everything. If you want proof that money isn't everything, Walmart billionaire died recently worth £18 billion, right? And he died in a crash involving what was described as a homemade plane. Now, I would suggest to you there are some words that should never go together. I would suggest that homemade and plane are 2 of them. Maybe self-assembly gas oven, there's a few more. But also 50-year-old woman and leotard. It's wrong. I rest my case.
Thanks, Andy. OK, other team members, in you go now.
Fundamentally, our pop stars and our rock stars represent a time within us all where, you know, we have that sort of coming of age, that awareness of our sexuality, of our lust for life, of our freedom. And once you reach a certain point, it's just downhill from there. You're just clinging on. You're never as good as you were at your peak. Therefore, Madonna cannot get better with age. Basically, if you're saying that Madonna gets better with age, you have to take all of the rock stars that have got old and are still releasing things. Basically, this argument you have to end by saying you're a massive, massive fan of Cliff Richard.
And that's precisely the point. If we accept that we're all going to peak and then just tail off, then that's very depressing. It's good to have an example of someone who doesn't. Otherwise, you may as well get to 50 and say, I'm going to shoot myself in the eyes now. Which is the name of Madonna's next album, apparently.
No, you're right that people shouldn't get to a certain age and give up, but our pop stars should. There is no pop star or rock star over the age of about 45 that's still doing anything that isn't just a bit recidivist?
David Bowie. I think Bowie's released some interesting albums of late.
I agree. David Gilmour as well, and Madonna.
So, once again, I'm asking the audience to decide which team made the best argument. It's a blue card for Rufus and Andy, and a red one for Marcus and Mark. Raise your cards now, please. That's a win for the red team. Well done to Marcus and Mark. According to the press, Madonna spends up to 8 hours a day working out. Yes, working out why she married Guy Ritchie. Time now for the quick-fire round and a last chance for our teams to demonstrate their argumental prowess. I'm going to show them a series of images. All they have to do is suggest an argument to go with them. OK, here we go.
I think this is an argument against lottery-winning chavs being allowed to buy horses.
Actually, you're close. You're not quite right. It's the argument why Jordan wasn't allowed to join that polo club.
I think it's an argument against giving jockeys acid.
It's just an argument against the continuation of civilization, probably. It's an argument in favour of us all just saying, all right, that's it, I give up. That's the worst thing I've ever seen.
It is monstrous, isn't it?
OK, let's try this one.
Oh. I think this is a pretty strong argument against internet dating, isn't it?
Yeah. An argument against answering a personal ad that says, nice man, do not have real face.
Is it an argument against allowing Michael Jackson to appear on Emmerdale?
OK, next picture.
Oh, blimey.
It's an argument for the triple-barrelled shotgun.
I think it's an argument suggesting that, you know, in the right company, Prince Philip can look like quite a nice man.
Is it an argument against Prince Harry dressing up in fancy dress?
I tell you what, it's definitely an argument against allowing just any old person to reinterpret the famous Class sketch. I look down on him because he's black. I look up to him because he just gave me a knighthood.
I know my place.
OK, that's it. So for the final time, it's down to our studio audience to decide who made the best case. Vote now.
Yep, that's a sympathy vote if ever I saw one.
OK, right, so I can tell you that the blue team have won the round, but nevertheless, that still means the overall winners tonight are the red team. Well done, Marcus Brigstocke and Mark Watson. Commiserations to Rufus Hound and Andy Parsons. That's all we've got time for.
Argumental is too good for just one entertainment medium, so that's why you'll find more Argumental treats on our rather swish website, joindave.co.uk. And next, also good, also entertaining, it's Mock the Week.